It's 12 o'clock. Time to reach for mobile water. Mobile water, unique in every way.
30 years of joyfulness. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, Hits 103.9 FM, also in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We are live in all 16 regions. We're on A1 Radio in Bogatanga, ATL FM in Cape Coast, and Gangai FM in Jirapa. We are live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Chief Executives all sacked as President Mahama begins his first official day at work. I have all the details for you. Meanwhile, the Chief of Staff, Julius Debrah, directs a new technical committee to deliver a roadmap to addressing the looming power crisis by end of day today.
Government has been briefed in order to address the situation, because we know that it is pretty urgent, and they have up until the close of day today to put before government the roadmap. The responsibility has shifted to the present government, but President Mahama is alive to the task.
We have details from a just ended emergency meeting of key stakeholders in the energy sector, plus hear from the immediate past energy sector minister asking the government to keep the lights on. Electoral Commission resumes recollation of the disputed Awa North parliamentary election results. We are live at the EC regional headquarters for that. Meanwhile, the Kwashiman cluster of schools located within the Awa North constituency returns to a shift system after last month's fire damaged parts of the building. We are live on the ground. Also in this bulletin, we'll take you behind the stitches of President Mahama's inauguration outfit, which carries more than just ceremonial significance, but also conveys a message woven in Adinkra symbols.
We thank you for giving us this day, a day that offers me, your humble servant, a unique opportunity to work to reset our dear country, Ghana.
And there's sports as well. That and more here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please do stay on. Now let's dig in. And President John Mahama has this afternoon revoked the appointment of all chief executives, metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, that's MMDAs, and assembly members appointed pursuant to the relevant sections of the Local Governance Act. Well, the directive is effective immediately, and in the interim, the respective coordinating directors of the various MMDAs have been directed to assume responsibility as acting chief executives until substantive appointments are made. Joy News editor Fred Smith joins me in studio with details of that statement. Fred, what does it say?
Well, Emefa, the statement was written or signed by Callistus Mahama. He's the secretary to the president. It says revocation of appointments in accordance with the powers vested in His Excellency John Mahama under the provisions of the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936, as amended by the Local Governance Amendment Act 2017. The following appointments have been revoked effective today. The first is chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. 2 is the assembly members appointed pursuant to relevant sections of that same act. And in the interim, the respective coordinating directors of the various MMDAs are directed to assume responsibility as acting chief executives until substantive appointments are duly made. Kindly take note and act accordingly. And this letter is directed to the Chief Director of Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, copied to the Office of the Vice President and the Chief of Staff.
That's Joy News editor First Smith there giving us updates of that directive to all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives. Of course, the appointments have been terminated. And meanwhile, Chief of Staff Julius Debrah has directed a new technical committee to present a comprehensive roadmap to address the nation's power challenges by close of day today. The move follows warnings from former Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor, who attributed the potential crises to fuel shortages. On the Super Morning Show earlier, Mr. Jinapor's concerns also mounted over the ballooning debt owed to independent power producers, further complicating the situation.
I said the main challenge would be to work around and deal with the fuel situation. i.e., how do we move from this 5 hours to 30 days immediately? How do we move from less than 2 days KTPP to 30 days immediately? And then, more importantly, same power, where I elaborated. Same power is indicated that they usually require 4 weeks to treat the fuel. With distillate fuel and heavy fuel oil, which can be used by AXA and KTPP, there's no issue. I also checked Asogli has no fuel. Asogli has no fuel, so there's no fuel stock at Asogli. But the problem is that even when you bring the fuel now, you will need to treat it. That is light crude oil. And so these are the facts. I mean, if anybody has counterfacts, I've read Herbert Crapper's statement. He didn't give any figure. The question you ask is that, what are the figures? This came up at the transition team. It's not like nobody anticipated it. At the transition team, we invited WAPCO, because WAPCO was supposed to carry out the maintenance exercise in October 2024. Government prevailed on WAPCO to postpone it to January 20th in order to build enough fuel stock. At the meeting, Collins, who is the deputy minister to Herbert Crapper, was at the meeting, and it came to light that the fuel stock was not enough to cater for the power situation when WAPCO eventually turns the valve off. Because when they turn the valves off, the Tema enclave will not have gas. We can't also do a reverse flow of gas from Takoradi to Tema. So we need adequate stock of fuel, which is light crude oil, heavy fuel.
Well, that's John Jinapo there interacting with us on the Super Morning Show. There's a lot to unpack when it comes to the energy sector this afternoon, because there's a meeting that has been directed by the Chief of Staff to ensure that the challenges are addressed by close of day today. Well, you heard Jinapo made mention of a statement by the former Energy Minister, Herbert Crapper. My colleague, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson, joins me in studio with details of that. What exactly is he saying?
So, Emefa, Herbert Crapper has been responding to Mr. Jinapo on his Facebook handle, and I'm reading verbatim, and he says, I've read a statement with Honorable John Jinapo, co-chairman of the Transition Team Subcommittee on Energy and Natural Resources, in which he claims that massive load shedding looms as Ghana's fuel stock depletes, and seeks to blame His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and his government for it. Mr. Jinapo is wrong. Load shedding does not loom. It is caused either by technical or emergency power generation issues or a lack of competence in managing the power sector. Mr. Jinapo seems to be haunted clearly by the latter. By the time of leaving office, President Akufo-Addo's government left in stock light crude oil, which SenPower currently generates power with, whilst AXA continues to take delivery of heavy fuel oil, which it generates power with, and says this fact is easily verifiable with a phone call to both power plants. The responsibility of the new administration is to not only procure more liquid fuel to keep the lights on whenever liquid fuel becomes required to complement gas supply, but also plan competently, to avert power supply disruptions. We did it, and they can do it too if they can. The NDC government should get to work as we did. The reason we kept the lights on for 8 years, regardless of the difficult times, and stop the needless finger pointing. That is not the way we kept the lights on. Herbert Crapper, that's former Minister of Energy.
Well, there are issues there in that sector, and thankfully, Joy News lead data and research analyst Isaac Ofieji joins me in studio. We know that Gridco has announced that the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company will cut the gas supply for mandatory maintenance from January 20 to February 16, 2025. Isaac has been taking a look at it. Isaac, what do we know from the report put out by Gridco?
Well, so Emefa, what we know is that the planned maintenance was supposed to occur in October 2024, but the Energy Ministry made a point that they wanted this postponed to between January and February. And what we understand is that according to Gridco, if the valves are shut, what we are going to face is a deficit in generation, which is about 1,100 megawatts of power what should happen? They are actually recommending that then there's a need to procure liquid fuel to run the thermal plants, especially those in the Tema areas. Now, how much will be needed to purchase this fuel? According to Gridco, we need close to $90 million of, to buy that liquid fuel. The exact figure is $89.9 million that is needed to buy that fuel. The recommendation also from Gridco is that there is the need to secure additional generation resources with dependable capacity of at least 244.66 megawatt to the end of the 2025, which means that they're actually projecting that this might linger until the end of 2025.
Well, but there's a projection from the Energy Commission on what could cause doomsday this year. What are we learning? Tell us more.
And in fact, Energy Commission was the first to come out with the outlook for 2025, and in their report, December 2024 report, looking at the outlook for this year, they estimate or they project that we need close to $1.25 billion to buy fuel to power the plant this year. Now, if you do the math, that brings about, let's say, $100 million every month. That's huge money. In terms of the fuel requirement, they stated that natural gas will continue to be the predominant fuel for power generation this year, and definitely they were expecting that it should come from the indigenous plants, like the Jubilee 10 and ENI, and they made mention of WAPCO, that WAPCO will be very, very key. They asked also a very simple question, that would we need to import power in 2025? The answer was no, but they stated that conditionally, if we have fuel challenges like we may about to have and fault, then we may have to import power this year.
I know your team are putting all the details out on myjoyonline.com. I can't wait to visit myjoyonline.com to get all the updates from the Joy Research team. Well, I told you about an emergency meeting that's been called by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debrah, to ensure that this particular challenge is addressed by close of day today with all the stakeholders in that meeting. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more from that particular meeting. Maxwell, tell me what you've been able to glean so far.
Well, in fact, the meeting brought together all the players in the power sector. Notably, we had the Ministry of Energy representatives from GNPC, the Volta River Authority, WAPCO, Southern Asobi, PURC, and more. And all close to 40 people who have played various roles in the power sector were present. The meeting was chaired by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debrah. We also had representatives from the new government. Now, the chairperson of the committee that has been formed is John Jinapor. We have members, including Atu Forsen. Emmanuel Amakosibua is also a member. And we have representatives from the various power industry also present, as members of the committee.
That runs from Nigeria and brings gas to Ghana. This, as they informed, is a critical maintenance after a certain number of hours and period of running to ensure the integrity of the pipeline. Now, this work requires that the pipeline, that the portion which sends gas to power plants in Tema will be shut down for the period. The period they need to do the maintenance is about 1 month. Now, because the gas that they supply to thermal plants in Tema is going to be shut down, it is needful that we get some liquid fuels for some of the plants in Tema to run, so that we continue to have adequate supply even during the period of the pigging. What we came to inform the government is that yes, there are some liquid fuels, but it's not enough to cover for the period of the pigging. And so efforts have to be made to get enough volumes of the liquid fuel so that that critical maintenance can go on as planned. So this is what we came to inform the government. Thank you.
So, Maxwell, that's a representative from WAPCO there. You've also been interacting with the acting spokesperson at the presidency, Felix Kwakye-Ofosu. What more has he been saying?
Yes, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye accused the outgoing government of dereliction of duty in failing to procure the fuel. He says the new government will rise to the occasion and avert any power crisis.
Government has been briefed in order to address the situation, because we know that it is pretty urgent. A technical committee has been set up that has representatives from all the key players in the management of Ghana's energy sector, and they have up until the close of day today to put before government a roadmap on what exactly needs to be done and how it can be done. So you can rest assured that government is taking the matter seriously and will do what has to be done in order to avoid any difficulty for the people of Ghana. It needs to be stressed that the purging exercise, or if you like the maintenance exercise on the pipeline, should have been carried out in October of last year. Government then, the NPP government, requested that they shift it to January 20th in order that they will have sufficient time to procure the alternative fuels, that is the liquid oils, to power the thermal plants within the period that gas will not be available. At least in about 2 national security briefings that the then president-elect held with the present government, he asked about the status of the procurement of oils, and he was given firm assurance by the then government that they had put mechanisms in place to resolve the situation, that there will not be the difficulty that we are talking about today. It does appear that that promise was not kept, and therefore the responsibility has shifted to the present government. But President Nana is alive to the task.
That's acting spokesperson at the presidency, Felix Ofusukwache, there interacting with the media. Well, we still relish in all the moments when it comes to the inauguration of President Mahama yesterday. One key concern that's generated a lot of talk on social media is the Burkina Faso president and the fact that he was carrying a weapon when he went to greet President Mahama. Well, we've been hearing from Special Aide to President John Dramani Mahama, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, and he says that Ibrahim Traore's appearance with arms isn't a cause for alarm like many people fear. He's been speaking on the AM show.
And before they actually even arrived at the premises, remember that there were various security checks. But this is a whole head of state, you understand. And you know, this is also a country with a very delicate history currently. And so there's all sorts of things at play. If there's anybody who can get him to actually even rescind his decision to continue being a military leader, and Ghana has had its own history. Joe Rollins himself came in almost pretty much. And I hear this is a man who references late President Rollins all the time and literally idolizes him and has photos of him all over. If we want a way in which we can encourage him, for example, to go back to democratic rule, I'm sure that this may be a great way, that you can still go to the polls and lead your country with whatever flair and pomp and pageantry you want to do. But yes, I also found it a bit awkward when I saw that he had the gun on his hip and all of that.
That's Joyce Bawa Mokhtari there speaking on the AM show this morning. Well, don't forget, yesterday was Constitution Day, and on the PM Express yesterday, we focused a lot more on matters of constitution, and former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo was one of our guests, and she's been calling for constitutional reforms in the manner in which a Chief Justice is appointed for the Republic of Ghana. According to Article 144 of the 1992 Constitution, the Chief Justice shall be appointed by the President, acting in consultation with the Council of State and with the approval of Parliament, and with the removal of same, which must be initiated through the President of the Republic. Well, President Akufo-Addo just 2 days ago declined a petition from Ghanaian lawyer Professor Kwekwasare calling for the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo over alleged misconduct and incompetence. However, speaking on the recent developments on PM Express last night, the former Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo was puzzled at what offence proponents believe Chief Justice Torkornoo had committed. Here's what he told Blessed Soga.
One has to look at the Constitution, and we must make the Constitution work. What is wrong in the Constitution is the processes by which the judiciary is appointed, or for that matter, the Chief Justice is appointed. I think the public will feel more comfortable if there was some form of an independent appointments commission whose responsibility it is to undertake a transparent process of nomination, how people are to be nominated, how people are to be selected, what are the qualifications, and all these can be done.
Of course, in just the last few days before the expiration of his term, during President Akufo-Addo's tenure, we had a professor of law, for instance, Professor Kweku Asare, then asking for the removal of the Chief Justice, for instance. That process had to be channeled through...
What has she done? What has she done? Has she committed any an offense of misconduct? Well, that needs to be proven. It's not, you don't just get up and impeach. It's a process. It's not even, let's not even use the word removal.
That's the former Chief Justice Sophia Kufu there speaking on PM Express. The full show is available on all our social media platforms and myjoyonline.com. Let's get into the election headquarters now.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA), and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Break Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Aya Strong, Aya Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxe Paints Mu Champion.
It's also made possible by Magdan Group of Companies and Vena Water. The legitimacy of 3 contested parliamentarians, Techiman South, Okaikwe Central and Tema Central, together with embattled Akwetia, have finally been determined as members in the 9th Parliament. Well, before the inauguration of the 9th Parliament, the NDC sought a court action against the declaration of the results, claiming that the recollation exercise by the EC was illegal. However, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, indicated earlier that the legitimacy of these seats were questionable, and as such, they will not be sworn in as members of Parliament. But there's more here.
The Techiman South, Okaikwe Central and Tema Central constituencies have come under public scrutiny after the NDC filed an appeal case challenging the third collated results of the same constituencies. But acting clerk to Parliament Ebenezer Humajetro, in his initial remarks to the House, indicates that the EC on January 5 wrote to Parliament communicating that the 3 candidates in question, Martin Eje Mensah Kosa, Charles Forson, and Patrick Boama, are eligible to be sworn in as MPs.
Submission of writ of elections for Okaikwe Central, Tema Central, and Techiman South parliamentary elections held on 7 December 2024. I bring you greetings from the Electoral Commission and trust that this letter finds you well. Following the completion of the collation of police station results for Okaikwe Central, Tema Central, and Techiman South constituencies, kindly find attached writ of elections for the parliamentary elections held on 7 December 2024 for the above-mentioned constituencies.
The clerk, however, advised that MP-elect for Akwetia and Eskumi must not be sworn in, considering a separate court case.
Since it is a court order, which order restrains the clerk to Parliament as well.
Well, so that's what transpired. These 3 seats, we're told, have been, determined. One outstanding is still the Ablekuma North constituency. Recollation has resumed today, and James Aveji is at the Greater Accra Regional Coalition Centre. Joins us on the line. Do I have an MP now?
Well, Emefa, not yet. You would have to wait a bit longer because as we speak, we have finally just moved to the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. The Commission said we are expected to have an engagement with the EC. Afterwards, we will be moved to the Coalition Center to continue with the coalition. So currently, we are at the EC headquarters waiting for that engagement. As to the content of what exactly the engagement is, the EC has been tight-lipped about that. And so we'll be finding out pretty soon. Just to wind back a bit, this is the coalition that exactly a month ago declared the NDC Serabna Obing as winner. A week later, that has been reversed to declare the NPP's Ekwefrie as winner. We don't know what the final coalition will be yet, and so we're holding on to that, Emefa.
Thank you very much, James Aveji, constituent of Ablekuma North. We'll have to wait a while longer, but we know that there was a fire incident at the Kwashiman cluster of schools. Thankfully, the school reopened today. Jacqueline and Sumaya Boa has been following this particular incident for us and joins us in the studios. What did you find today when you returned there?
Well, Emefa, the school, it was far from normalcy today. I saw about 5 students today, and speaking to them, they said that they've been asked to go home and come back the following day. Let's take a listen to them. Found out that they had to be moved away from the building to another building which is outside the school compound. Today is reopening. Today is 8th January 2025, and we came here to find out the situation on the ground. Currently,
we are not affected by anyway because the building was not a building. We have another building here, so the building that burnt was for the Anglicans, and we had another building, so we are not affected by anyway.
But then you are still not in class. You are not in class because this place is now considered as a crime scene. Yes. So you are not in school now.
But when we came in the morning, we did morning lessons.
You learned today?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me also speak to this young student here too. And when you came to school, what did you find out from your teachers?
So when we came, since we already know that the school is bent, this place was restricted. So we were taken to the senior block behind me. So we had morning lessons. Then later we were informed that we will be running shift along with the juniors and the other schools. So then they told us that we should go home since the teachers are about to have a meeting.
That's the situation. Yeah, but parents too, they've been sharing their thoughts on it. It's actually heartbreaking for them. And speaking to the PRO for the Ablekuma North Education Directorate, he says they are putting measures in place to make sure that tomorrow the students can come to school, but then they'll be running a shift system.
Well, let's take a quick break, Jacqueline, and I'm sure you'll be back with more on what people are talking about. We also take you behind the stitches of President Mahama's inauguration outfit, which carries more than just ceremonial significance, but also conveys a message woven in Adinkra symbols.
We thank you for giving us this day, a day that offers me, your humble servant, a unique opportunity.
Where did I? Now I don't know many just are. Obiang, what to chrome her? Ain't you want to say Petrosol for your energizing dreams for motion? Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you all.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
Thanks for staying with us. It's time for sports, and having been sworn in as president of Ghana for the next 4 years, John Dramani Mahama faces a challenge of revitalizing the nation's sports sector now to enable Ghana to compete strongly at international competitions. There is a need for proper scouting. Joy Sports editor Fentu Tahiru Fentu has more.
They should really consider partnering secondary schools across the country to set up what I would like to call right to dreams across all 16 regions. And you don't need to set up a whole new school, build a whole new school. No, you just need to identify one secondary school and convert it into a school of sports development. And that way, then you can just build adjoining facilities. So they already have a football pitch.
That's Joy Sports editor Fentu Tahiru Fentu. Now, speaking of John Dramani Mahama, as he takes over, continuing the long-standing tradition where president-elect wear traditional attire at their inauguration. But this time, his outfit carries more than just ceremonial significance. It conveys a message. My colleague Emmanuel Jivenu explores the meaning behind the Adinkra symbols to reinforce his inaugural address to the nation.
His agbada carries a message woven in Adinkra symbols. A silent sermon conveyed through the 4 Adinkra motifs. Jinyami, which means accept God. This motive proclaims a reflection of President Mahama's acknowledgement of divine providence.
We thank you for giving us this day, a day that offers me, your humble servant, a unique opportunity to work to reset our dear country, Ghana.
The Sankofa is perhaps the most popular Adinkra symbol, representing redemption, renewal, and a nation ready to correct its course. Mahama's campaign slogan echoed these ethos.
Today should mark the beginning of a new opportunity, an opportunity for us to make a difference in our governance and our economic management. We shall reset our dear nation, Ghana.
The intricate design of the Juniming, symbolizing strength, tempered by humility. Mahama's journey is a proof to this. Once a president, then an opposition leader, and now returning with an air of introspection.
As your next leader, I will have the humility and presence of mind to take responsibility for any challenges.
Nyamidia reinforces his promise of leadership rooted in faith and a vision of unity and progress.
And that's Emmanuel Jivenu's report. Well, we also saw some bold kente and literally breathtaking corsets. Sairam Abladi Souza's report. Right to you.
The inauguration of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana wasn't just about a new chapter for parliamentary business, but it turned into a runway where tradition in style and fashion took dominance. Kente, agbada, smock, kaftan, among others, were in display in each corner of the August House. For some MPs, their fashion statement on this night will be louder than any parliamentary debate. Patricia Piaget, the MP for Asokwa, turned heads and possibly caught her own breath in a daring kaba which offered her nothing but restricted comfort. Clearly fashioned for breathlessness. Her corset top design, bearded in blue, gold, red and black, can be described as a tribute to Ghanaian creativity. Comfordo Kujo Gansa, MP for Ada, was draped in a timeless black and white kente.
Well, this is a report you want to catch a full edition of. It's also on the Joy News channel, myjoyonline.com, and all social media platforms. I promise I'll bring the entire report in full to you on Newsnight. Well, what are people talking about? Breathtaking?
I'm actually not breathless right now.
I'm not breathless. Killing ourselves. What's happening?
Yeah, but people are talking about President Mahama's design. You know, people are expressing their thoughts on that. Trending, and his designer, is it Bondana? Yes. There's a video of him when he went to that fabric shop. So people are talking about that. And away from that, Ibrahim Traore, that's the Burkina Faso's leader. Yes, people have been expressing their thoughts about that. You know, when he went there, we saw a gun by his side. So people have been asking, was it right?
I'm sure there were no bullets in it.
Oh, really?
Let's hope. No, I was concerned when I saw it too. I'm like, what if this guy just removes it and
we just lost our leader just like that? I know, right?
So. Yeah. That's fine. Well, that's what people are talking about.
Yeah, that's the biggest conversation.
Well, let's go. We're out of time. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. And there's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Bill, Fit for Purpose, episode 8 is up next. On Hits, we have entertainment news. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon.